it's always good to make it interesting. And I'm loving that, I'm loving that. They're at least making it interesting. So there'll be a few more eyes definitely on game 4 come Sunday.
Man. It is like respect to that man.
Yep. He can drop them buckets, he's a great scorer.
Excuse me.
No, you're good, man. Let me go ahead, let me do my tags. You want to, my brother, you can do the same. Let's see. That background brings a lot more eyes to our podcast. So awesome.
Man, kudos to the South Side to even bringing this heat.
Yeah, man, the North Side heating up too.
Yeah, I get. No, I'm playing. Yeah, they're doing it.
Let's see, God. That's not his name no
Morning, my brother.
Okay. Good morning, Deshaun. Good morning. Good morning. We actually got to talk about your marriage this morning. Yeah. So,
bro,
hello.
He put the heat on me yesterday.
Oh man, I'm sure, man. Yeah, I'm sure he's a very excited man right now. So, hello and good morning, people. Welcome to the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Thank you for tuning in with us this morning as we conversate about the latest sports topics that has taken place from this past week and will be upcoming this. It is always a blast to have you all tune in with us to participate with us every weekend. Please do us a favor as you participate and as you take a look at the video. Please hit that like button, have a reaction, and participate with us as we talk about the latest topic. As a reminder that every week we always like to begin our podcast by reminding our audience that the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast can be found on Facebook via the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast page, on Spotify as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, YouTube as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, Apple Podcasts, etc., as well as our own Facebook pages via Brandon Price and Jamar Goodman, amongst other streaming platforms. Today is May 29th, 2021. We have seen yet again another interesting week in the sports world. For the Los Angeles Lakers, Jamar, they suddenly look like the new basketball team with LeBron James and AD back on the court. All it seems to take is for AD to get assertive, and it changes the whole dynamic of that team. The NBA playoffs in full effect as we see. Pandemic P and the Los Angeles Clippers responded last night, but still on the road to a possible epic collapse. Alongside the Destination Fantasy podcast with Mr. Jamar Goodman and Deshaun Reed Sr. giving us their top 10 skill position players from a fantasy perspective. And with that being said, introducing my brother from another mother, Mr. Jamar Goodman. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself, Mr. Brandon Price?
I'm good, man. It's the weekend. I'm blessed to be able to have this conversation with you. All right. So let's get our conversation started this morning. And so we see that the NBA playoffs have started, and the Los Angeles Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks have been very impressive. So I just want to ask, thus far in your watching of the NBA playoffs, can you give me the teams that you have been impressed with and the teams that have made you depressed?
All right. So before I give my answers, so I was put on blast yesterday by Mr. Deshaun Reed last night
Okay.
while we was playing some basketball. And look, man, apparently I was wrong about the Mavericks. I was, I, I didn't get no respect. I was disrespecting them. And and they was like probably like a quarter away from being up 3-0 last night. So
Definitely, man. They been in control most of the series.
Luka has owned them. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess to answer the question here, who's been been impressed with the most and most, I guess, depressed, or how you want to put it. So team I've been most impressed with is the Milwaukee Bucks, because they are avenging themselves from last year in that first round series against the tough Miami Heat. Like Miami is basically they're no pushovers. They are legitimate. They are tough. They are hard nosed. They are gritty. They don't back down. But it seems like Giannis and Drew Holiday, Middleton, Forbes, Bobby Portis, even though Dante DiVincenzo, he's out for the rest of the playoffs, but even still, like that team has like stumped them, owned them, like
They've owned them. Just curious, Jamar, can you give me a tougher dog than a pit bull? Because this is what the Miami Heat is. Miami Heat are a pit bull. And you see how they pushed them game one to the core. I mean, of course, there could be a 2-1 series, but these guys basically got out pit bull. Maybe if it's a pit bull, maybe they're a baby pit bull, and the Milwaukee Bucks are a grown man pit bull. Do you see my point? Like,
I do, and I mean, I also like kind of think of them as goons, man. They're like the Heat are goons, but I guess famous line from Lil Wayne, like, "What's a goon to a goblin?"
Exactly.
So the Bucks just coming out and stomping them.
You're a goon, but what's a goon to a goblin?
It's miraculous. I didn't think they'd be like this. I thought, the Bucks will win in 6, but it seemed like there's a strong chance that they'll finish them off tomorrow. Or no, is it today?
No, today, man. They taking the brooms out today.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley all on TNT, sweeping about 15 minutes in that super slow motion he's sweeping.
Man, super slow motion. But yeah, man. The Bucks, like I said last week, if they beat the Heat, they are legitimate. But the way that they are beating them, it's a whole nother level to this. So basically, at this point, bring on the Bucks and the Nets. I'm ready to see it. And then to answer your second question on the flip side, what?
I know where you're going.
No. I can say the Clippers all day and night on this one. I can. But I want to shift my gears to another team, which is the New York Knicks.
Really, you're depressed by them?
More so, one guy in particular. His name is Julius Randle.
Gotcha.
The most improved player. Where have you been? This man is shooting 24% from the field in this series, 13 of 54 from the field, 14 and a half points per game in this series. You are being guarded by Danilo Gallinari. You should be owning this man. You should be bullying this man. Yet somehow, some way, they are like luring you into like these traps and making you force these shots over like 2 defenders, thinking you're Kobe out here. And I know you bring that mama mentality to the Knicks, but you're not Kobe. Like Derrick Rose has been the shining star of this series, and shout out to the man from the Windy City. Shout out to the resurrection of his career. Like we knew for the past couple of years he was back, but apparently him being in the playoffs, the world is taking notice again. But Julius Randle, you're the all-star of this team. You're the quote unquote best player, and you are nowhere to be found. This man hit 2 shots last night. I think it was 2 for 15. I was telling Deshaun last night, 2 for 15. somehow ended up with 14 points. I guess he went to the free throw line a few times. I didn't watch the game, but like for you to be the best player, you got to hit more than 2 shots.
True.
Like you got to take ownership for this. Like have you like averaging the numbers that you put up in the regular season? Maybe this series is 3-0 Knicks way instead of being down 1-2 right now. So that's what I'm going.
I know game one hurt it for him, but that was just Trae Young's greatness. But one thing with that series is that Trae Young has been able to get in his spot. That's it. Just like D Rose. D Rose has been able to get his spots, penetrate, cut to the middle, get that runner going. You know what I'm talking about? Get that runner. This is what Trae Young mostly has did most of the series. He's been guarded very well by the Knicks, but a great scorer is going to get that points regardless, regardless how great the defense is. And so Trae Young is definitely one of the great scorers in our league. I'm looking forward to that series just going 6 or 7 games. I'm hoping for it. And so game 4 tomorrow be a big one at 12 noon. Team I'm most impressed with thus far. I mean, like you mentioned, man, just in regards to everything that they've done, reactions, how hard they've played. Yes, the Knicks leave you depressed, but the Bucks are very impressive. But I gotta go with the Denver Nuggets, man. The Denver Nuggets without Jamal Murray. You see that Rivers stepped up game 3, clutch, 16 points in the fourth quarter. Buckets. He's always been one of those players, that can get hot, get streaky, get going, get his shot going, let off a few of them. And so he hit like 4 straight 3-pointers in the fourth quarter, going back and forth with Damian Lillard. You know what I'm saying? Back and forth with Damian Lillard. And it seemed like right now the Nuggets have kind of figured out the Blazers after the Blazers took game 1. And so Denver, very impressive. I didn't pick them to win the series. I'm hoping that Damian Lillard and the Blazers have a response today. We'll see. But if the Nuggets go up 3-1, Jamar, this series is over. Especially being that they have home court. And so Portland can't afford to lose 2 straight at home. But it shows you, man, how good the Nuggets really are. It shows you how deep their bench is. It shows you how good the coaching is. Shout out to Mike Malone for doing one of his best coaching jobs, because they defend, and defending Damian Lillard, Jamar, ain't no easy feat. That's not an easy feat to defend him. And so shutting him down alongside, or at least let's say containing him, alongside for sure shutting down CJ McCollum, shutting him down. And another guy I thought that would have a great series is Powell. But Powell has been a no-show thus far. Their third best player has been Carmelo Anthony, 18-year veteran at this point. So that's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. He can get you some buckets, but he can't be on the floor trying to defend. That's not going to work. So I'm definitely all eyes on that game 4 with Portland and Denver. But I'm very impressed with the Nuggets. The team I'm most depressed with is, you got it, damn Los Angeles Clippers. All the talent, all the money, all the budgeting, and all the eggs in that basket to win a championship. First and foremost, Clippers. It's not like y'all have won a damn thing. It's not like they've won a championship. Jamar, it's not like they've even been to the conference finals, bro. They haven't even made the conference finals. But yet and still, you got the nerve to avoid the Lakers and try to say, hey, our best matchup is the Dallas Mavericks. Hello, you still got Luka Doncic there. You still got Kristaps Porzingis there. You still got a streaky Tim Hardaway Jr. there. And they did play you last year, so they kind of know a lot about you. Okay? And so it's like very cocky to just avoid the Lakers and say, hey, we're going to tank a little bit so we can play the Clippers, okay? So we can play the Mavericks. And now the Mavericks are putting the brakes on you. Luka Doncic scoring 40 points pretty much every game. Shout out to Luka Doncic, because this one thing I observed, Jamar. Remember, I picked Luka Doncic as my pick for MVP. Yep. And the reason why I picked him was because I know he can get his spots. He can score in so many ways, right? there's no way you can stop him offensively. He has the most crafty game I've ever seen, probably in NBA history, outside of Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili. At least what I've seen. And so this guy, Luka Doncic, he saved himself, Jamar, not to be an MVP, but he saved himself because he knew how important his body, his health, his strength will be for the playoffs. And now he's learning what great players do, right? Yep. They'll preserve themselves and save themselves, not to go super hard in the regular season. And I think that's the problem with the Knicks. Tom Thibodeau, as we know, will push a team so hard, okay, especially the superstar, Julius Randle, to where when he get in the playoffs, he's kind of burnt out because he's been pushed so far for the whole season, you know? And I think fatigue is probably setting in a little bit on my brother Julius Randle just because of Tom Thibodeau and his regimes. And so, Clippers, don't drop this series, because if you do, atomic bombs will drop all over Los Angeles and everywhere else. And shout out to the Los Angeles Clippers, Jamar, for in game 2, not having no damn fans at the game, even though restrictions have been limited. And then you look at the Lakers game, which is in the same exact stadium, and you see fans all over the stadium. I'm like, what the hell is going on with y'all Clippers? No wonder why y'all losing.
Wow.
I mean, come on, man. Literally, you got the option for fans. Take advantage, right? I mean, it's a playoff. All right. So let's stay in LA though. Not with the Clippers. The Clippers still got more to prove, especially in game 4 tomorrow. But I need, Jamar, your thoughts from how the Lakers look now with LeBron and AD back on the floor together. Is it more so those guys back on the floor together, or is it just that they're playing a banged up Chris Paul team?
I think it's more so that I feel like the rust is starting to come off here for the Lakers. Anthony Davis woke up. He finally woke up game 3. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, dropped 34 points, 11 rebounds in that game.
Game 2 too, 34.
34 as well. So he's back. Now, when we was giving the predictions last week, mentioned one of the key matchups would be Anthony Davis and even Drummond against DeAndre Ayton. Ayton has hold his own. He definitely is doing his thing.
He's put up bucket.
He has. It's just the fact that Anthony Davis is starting to meet him and or even exceed what he's doing now on both ends of the floor. So that's the biggest thing to me. I feel like LeBron was always gonna get his, regardless, and have an instant impact just based on more so his playmaking ability. But Anthony Davis showing up is you starting to see shades of maybe, just maybe, they can possibly get out the West. It has that aura right now, that feeling. I mean, the Suns with a banged up Chris Paul it's like you can see that they're they can compete with them, but they can't get that over the top, that key moment, like stop or bucket or.
Yeah, I think they're young too.
Yeah, and that's why Chris Paul is so important and essential for that team to even have a chance in this series, because it's like you said, they're young.
Mm-hmm. Like a playoff experience. They're going up against a team.
Going against a team with championship pedigree, with championship DNA. So either way, this is going to be valuable playoff experience for them. So yeah, the Lakers starting to turn it on at the right time. I mean, health is still their number one nemesis at this point for themselves, but each game that goes by, they're looking better and better in my eyes.
Right. And so just curious, are you still sticking with your pick of the Suns over the Lakers in 7? Because I wasn't gonna let that.
I know. I mean, I did it for fun. I mean.
Oh, okay. It was for fun. Okay, I get.
Hey, I said that last week, so we can check the tape.
All right. So Jamar, possibly is having a change of heart here. I think that Phoenix could pull out another game, man, especially in Phoenix. But tomorrow night, I think it's vital. Could this series change tides? It can, because one thing about Phoenix, and I think you see it, Jamar, is they're very good on the fast break, and they make you suffer. They make you suffer if you miss a shot. And so I'm like, all right, let's play our basketball to the court. Any team in the NBA will make you suffer if you miss and they get the ball and they can push down on the other end of the court. That's why defense is so important. But Phoenix is a little special with it. And so, the youth, the energy, that stadium was wild last Sunday. But, the Lakers right now, Jamar, they just dominating the paint, bro. And shout out to LeBron with a drama, not Anthony Davis, but AD, the Drummond AD, because Andre Drummond looks like a resurgent guy. He is getting his completely now. And I know he's a very happy man that LeBron's back on the court. One thing that you notice, Jamar, is not only are they dominating the paint, but they are tracking Devin Booker wherever he goes. Period. He can go to the basket, and those two big bodies are there to block his shots.
Yep.
You've seen at least 4 or 5 times they blocked his shot off the backboard, just right off the backboard. And it's like, oh man, that could be demoralizing. You saw that he got ejected. He got ticked off. Very, very cheap play against Dennis Schroeder the other day. And so, pushing Dennis Schroeder directly right out the air from frustration. But just literally great defense from the Lakers, who is the number 1 ranked defense in the National Basketball Association. And so that's one thing that these teams have to worry about is the Lakers defending. I think their toughest matchup in the West, bro, is Utah. But I'm telling you, Memphis finna bring it down in Beale Street. He finna bring it down in the Grindhouse. And so if Memphis is pushing Utah, it's very, very dangerous for Utah, especially if they go into that second round series and they were to meet the Clippers. Okay. Which I think will still come back and beat the Mavericks. But we are about to talk about that series shortly. The Clippers, very, very talented team, and they stand for a lot to lose. But I think, that greatness, man, I think it'll come back. So I'm not truly panicking with the Mavericks in the Clippers series. But, if they were to lose, as stated, it's going to be bombs all over your television, all over your phones, all over your social medias, etc. But the Lakers, they look like they are back. And so we just got to continue to watch them and observe their health as they move past the Suns. I think now with 5 games are, LeBron loses game 1s, but I think me and at this point, they lose or he lose game 1 because he figures you out. That's all he's doing. He's just noticing what you're doing and saying, okay, game 2, we're going to shut that down. He's been that way his whole career. And so I didn't panic after that game 1 loss. So, all right, they look good. Okay, but let's talk about the Denver Nuggets, bro. They bounced back from a hole and are now 2-1 on the Blazers. We both picked the Blazers to win this series. But at this point of what you've observed, do you think the Blazers can still win this series?
Yes, but I feel like
it's a lot riding on tonight.
It is. Like, if they lose tonight, like you were saying earlier, I don't see them coming back. Like, right. you can't go home and lose both your home games. You just can't do it.
Yeah, not a good one.
No. So it's like I feel like Damian Lillard has been doing great for the most part. He's been sensational. I feel like he's the one that's been keeping them afloat, and then having help from Carmelo. I guess McCollum every now and then. Where's Nurkic at, man? Where is Nurkic?
Want to put out an APB for him?
Yeah, man. We don't have to because he's missing. He's missing in action. I don't know where this dude, like, did he crawl in a hole in a cave somewhere? Because
I think maybe it's Jokic that got him in that cave right now. He
Maybe
don't want no parts of him. He don't want no parts of him
at all, because got the Joker out here really looking like the league's MVP the way he's playing and killing this man and everything else. And Nurkic, he's a talented center. It's like, he'll have games where it's like, whoa, like this
right.
guy's legit. And then he'll have a week of like, you can't find this guy. He's playing over here. Where's Waldo out here? Like, I don't know. And I feel like for them to really come back and win this series, he has to play a lot better than what he's doing right now. They need consistency in that front court
They do.
because the Joker, he's getting any and everything that he wants, and you're gonna have to like slow him down. And I get it, like he's sensational. He's probably gonna win MVP, but it's like the Nuggets don't have Murray. Murray is going to be the key benefit, like the key factor for them to even like really compete and get out the West. They don't have that, so they're limited. And I get that Austin Rivers stepped up and did his thing and probably won Game 3 for them, but at the end of the day, it's like they're down. They're playoff superstar from last year. You only got really one guy to worry about. And for some reason, like besides the APP, they're not getting it done. I feel like they're making it harder than when it has to be. Like if Lillard has to go out there and drop 40 a night for you to win, then so be it. But somehow, some way, like Nurkic's gonna have to like do something to counteract what the Joker's doing. I don't care if it's with the rebounds, with the points. Like show a presence. You're nowhere to be found, and you're so talented to be acting like this. Like
Right.
show up.
I hear you, man. Do the Nuggets still or the Blazers still win this series? Yes. I think they still can win this series. I believe that Damian Lillard will come out if he got to drop 50 tonight, Jamar. If he got to drop 60, he's going to do it.
Yep.
Period. Damian Lillard has proven this over and over again. And so, although there is a panic button, and although Austin Rivers showed out, I don't bet on Austin Rivers showing out for the entire series. He can show out for a few games or so. But I do expect the Blazers, especially being at home tonight, to come out very assertive, to come out with a chip on their shoulder, and to come out realizing that they have the opportunity to be down 3-1. So I expect the Blazers to come out firing, blazing, buckets, defense, energy, crowd into it. CJ McCollum giving buckets. Nurkic playing a little bit of defense to trying to at least obtain Nikola Jokic. And putting up some buckets as well in his own, because you're right, he is a very talented center. I expect the Blazers to come out blazing tonight. Denver will come with some energy, but I'm expecting the Blazers to put the clamps on them tonight. And look forward to a crucial Game 5 in which I think that my boy Damian Lillard, I trust him in those moments. I trust the Joker too. Don't get me wrong. Joker's going to get his, Jamar. He's going to get his. Question is can you stop the others for the Nuggets? Joker's going to get his. He's just too talented. Do you see the shots he make? The impossible shots he make. Only he can do that. Nobody else. He's the only person that can do that. So he is that talented. I mean, an all freaking world talent. And if you put him and Luka on the same court, I would say the Joker is better. Although Luka is cold, the Joker just does stuff that's just unbelievable and really goes under the radar. And so his presence, man, his defense, everything about him, shows that he is the league MVP and that he's definitely the best center in the NBA. And probably, arguably, Jamar, one of the top 5 players in the league. And so this guy is the absolute truth. But I expect the proven truth that has done it sustainably, Mr. Damian Lillard, to come out blazing tonight. And so I expect the Blazers to bounce back. And I'm looking forward to that game tonight. The New York Knicks. Hey, we'll talk about out of control NBA fans shortly. The Atlanta Hawks have provided us with fireworks thus far. ATL showed up last night, and they were trying to send a message to New York that we can get crowded and rowdy and have a lot of energy too. But I'm just curious, man, out of these 3 games thus far, what have you enjoyed thus far this series the most, even if that includes Julius Randle? 13-54.
No, I guess what I enjoyed most, and I briefly mentioned it earlier, is the coming out, I guess the coming out party of Derrick Rose. Like, that's just for me personally.
Right.
Knowing that, he is shining when the lights are brightest. He is, like, keeping up with Trae Young, their best player. It's just the fact that he's getting more support from his teammates than what Derrick Rose is right now.
That's fact. That's facts.
But,
Hawks got a lot of weapons, low key.
They do, and this is one of the teams that before the beginning of the season we was kind of excited for because of all the additions that they made between Bogdanovich and Gallinari. Clint Capella. Even though he traded for them last year, he didn't play a game with them, and the addition of Lou Williams at the deadline. So
valuable buckets yesterday. Valuable buckets.
Indeed. So yeah, Atlanta's Hawks are like doing their thing right now, but I'm just happy to see Derrick Rose back on the court in games that matter most, shining, doing his thing. I guess reminding everybody of, who he is again. Like, I just wish, there's an APB out on Julius Randle as well. Apparently, there's a lot of people missing the action out here in these playoffs, man. So, somebody got to do something. So, but yeah, that's who I'm enjoying the series because it's a lot of energy, like between the two fan bases, watching Madison Square Garden just live and the people in Atlanta just live. It's great to see that again.
Yeah, Atlanta tried last night, Demar, but bro, we all know they ain't got nothing on the New York. They ain't got nothing on the New York fans. That Garden, man. The streets around Times Square, it's like the place to be. And me as a basketball fan, I love it. I totally love it. Outside of Derrick Rose, I'm loving to see what he's been doing this series. I just wish, Jamar, this is a question. Can all 7 games be played at Madison Square Garden for this series? This is how electric this stadium is. This is how phenomenal it is. This is how much of a joy it is to watch the New York Knicks play at home in the playoffs. The energy is just unflipping believable. I've enjoyed that crowd. I have even enjoyed them saying F Trae Young for most of the game, throwing popcorn, spitting on the poor guy. It's sad to see out of control NBA fans but I'm loving to see that you guys are back and that the energy has been catapulted to like another level. And so I hope this series goes the distance, and I hope it's a Game 7 in New York. I want to see it so bad. I want to see it so bad. Man. I want to see a Game 7 in Madison Square Garden with Trae Young and Bogdanovich quiet in the crowd and Lou Williams quiet in the crowd, and this kid Hunter from Virginia that's with the Hawks, he's a baller. The Hawks got weapons for sure, man. But it's something electric about that energy in that stadium, and it's electric seeing D Rose back and Todd Gibson, my boy, and Tom Thibodeau. I'm like, shout out to the Knicks, man. Y'all took our nucleus. I'm like, damn, if we could have kept them at least a few more years, we'd probably be in the playoffs still.
Man, I
right?
Man, I want to say this. To piggyback off what you said, I definitely want to see a Game 7, but I also want to see them win because I want to see Embiid in the Garden. That's what I want to see.
Oh, man.
That'd be entertaining right there. That's what I want to see.
Absolutely. He's going to definitely give him a show. He's going to definitely give him a show. I would love to see that, but I don't know, man. It's looking like Atlanta is trending towards winning the series. As you know, Jamar, basketball, winner of Game 3, most cases win the series about 70-something% of the time. Yeah. So Game 4, all eyes on that tomorrow. Down in the ATL, shoddy. And so Hawks go up 3-1. This series probably is going 6 at most. But if the Knicks respond tomorrow, which I know they're capable of, all eyes on Game 5, not even Game 7 in Madison Square Garden. So Stephen A. and everybody let's go. They just amped up, man. And so Shout out to the New York fans. Shout out to 50 Cent, by the way, who probably told the guy to spit on Trae Young, and even 50 Cent. You can see him in the back, Jamar, talking stuff to Trae Young. I'm like, this is just.
That's so
I'm
50
like,
though.
this is just totally all right.
But that's so 50 though. 50 is petty.
I mean, I'm just sitting here watching, and I'm like, geez, Louise, like these New York guys, like man, they're just unbelievable. And so, shout out to New York. If you ever get a chance, take a trip. Take a trip to Times Square. It is phenomenal. Yes. All right. Jamal, let's talk about these out of control NBA fans. And let's start with Russ Westbrook, game 2, man, up in Philly. And these ignorant fans who are just as rowdy as those in New York. So this gives me like an extra motivation to see New York versus Philly. A train ride, literally a 2-hour train ride from New York to Philly. I-95 expressway, like, to see this happen, this would be tremendous, bro. And to see these two fan bases go at each other, oh my goodness, it's gonna be live in Philly, it's gonna be live in New York if that would have happened. But Russ Westbrook had to be held, bro, literally within the tunnels, because he was finna pull out a Steven Jackson Ron Artest if he got a hold of this guy. And so he must have knew exactly who this guy was who threw the popcorn on him. And so he was trying to get at this cat. I wish he would have got it loose, and I wish he would have went and clobbered that cat, whoever he was. But your thoughts on these out of control NBA fans, including these guys in Philly, and especially these guys in New York?
Bro, this is wild. This is wild. So both fans, like, technically should be like arrested one way or another. Like
They definitely need to do something, right?
Yeah, like I think for the one in Philly, the NBA, like, I guess kicked him out, but he's able to like come back and for game 5 or something like that. He's not like banned permanently. One of the guys is not banned permanently. I think it's him, which is like what are
Really?
you doing?
Wow. I thought they both were banned. I thought they both were banned.
The one in New York for spitting is definitely banned permanently from Madison Square Garden. The other one, from what I was hearing yesterday, like he can come back and watch like game 5 in person, something like that.
Wow.
Something of the sort. I gotta listen to it, but he's not like all the way banned. So I'm sitting here confused on that. Like bro, like what was the point of dropping popcorn on Russ after he's walking off the court limping to go probably be out for the rest of the game? Like what is the point? Like,
yeah. So he's indefinitely banned from Wells Fargo Center, this guy.
Okay, so
yeah, so they both banned. They both banned. Both of them cats. Because if they didn't ban them, I'd be pissed off. Like, seriously? Like, dump popcorn on somebody?
Like what's the point, bro? But let me get on the spitting one. That's a whole nother level. That's the one that would get you like knocked out. Like that's like the ultimate disrespect to a human.
Ultimate disrespect.
You do not spit. You do not spit on anyone. Like Trae Young is a good one because
he's a
anybody else
claim he didn't see it or he didn't feel it.
But man, if he did or realized or recognized,
that ball would have been handed to the stands.
Yeah, like you do not do that at all. And it came from the second row, meaning you had to have like entitled. You probably privileged to be sitting there. So now that
and that's another question. Is racism thrown into this? I think it is. Nobody want to talk about it, but I believe it's definitely a motivation. A lot of these privileged white folks expect these nigger athletes to be nigger athletes, and if they're not giving them what they want with their money, they're going to treat them like trash, period. And they can do it because they feel like they know they can get away with it. And I think it is, I definitely take your privileged ass, stay away from Wells Fargo Center and the other guy from Madison Square Garden. I was just gonna throw out a solution, Jamar. Prior to every game, like you know how, for instance, when you go to the movie theater and they talk about, as example, turn off your cell phone, things like that. You know, if we see it, we'll kick you out this theater. Um, they should do the same thing prior to these games. You know, have like example a white guy. You know how they always try to make black guys bad. I would literally on purpose have a, because let's be honest, black guys outside of celebrities ain't in the first rows. It's white privilege, like you say. I take a privileged white person. I will have him somewhere in a stadium. I will have him doing a dumb act on a video, just in a cartoon form, and I would literally state this is a no-no with a big red sign with an X, you know, something like that, and say this is a no-no. Don't be like this guy, Brad. If you're like Brad, we would have you kicked out of the game, and I would have, like as example, security walking them up, uh, escorting them out the video, and then I even rub it in, and I have the security kick him in the butt, and then have him fall on his face in front of the stadium. And that would be like a full video that I would show prior to every game to remind the fans that if you do this, this is what will happen to you. Do you like that video? I just made that up on the spot.
Hey, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And I want to bring up something else that I just thought about while you was talking. The Utah Jazz fans strikes again with racism.
They're another one.
I don't know if you heard, but the stuff that they were saying about Ja Morant's parents in the stands, talking about put a nickel in the back and watch you dance type thing, and a whole bunch of other like beyond wild, like racist slurs and everything else. It was bad. It was bad.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And luckily,
go ahead.
And luckily, some of the, I guess people with some sense like pointed them out type thing. And I think they got kicked. I think they got kicked out. I don't think they got banned, but I think they got kicked out for that day. But yeah, it's always like, a white individual doing something to a black NBA player or a black athlete. That's
right.
That's you never see happen to a
you
white
never
NBA
see
player.
Happen to a white guy, right? If anything, they be fan favorites, and all they do is score 3 points.
Yep. So some got to give.
Yep. So I'm glad we having this conversation on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, talking about some real ish, because I don't like it at all. And as stated, try to put some videos out there or something to remind these idiots. I don't give a damn how drunk you are, how many beers you've had. Still not an excuse. Stadium want to make their money, of course, so they'll serve those people 1,000 beers if they like. But it even should probably be a limit on that too. Because you're getting these folks super drunk, and anybody super drunk, especially if they got their racist feelings, it's gonna come out. Regardless, it's gonna come out, and it's gonna be often the privileged, the ones that are not in the nosebleeds, the ones that are right by the stadium, right by the floor. I mean, so disrespect. Although I love the fans being back, it's a part of me that just don't like part of it. So yes. All right. Lastly, we know that the Celtics don't have a chance to win this series. But they did respond back and win a game last night. And so do you think that the Celtics just, but it's not really appropriate to answer this question now. And the reason why, Jamar, is because they responded back. So we got to at least maybe save this for next week. They'll probably be finished by next week, possibly. And so we'll talk about the Celtics next week. We will scratch that question this morning. All right. So the Destination Fantasy Podcast offensive position ranking. And so, Jamal, I don't know if you have anything you can share, but if not, I can maybe go to my messenger, and as example, I can pull up. Well, you know what? No, that story is no longer available.
I got you. I mean, if you want, I can. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I got you.
Okay. And so while you pull that up, let's talk about the Chicago White Sox. Let's talk about the Chicago White Sox. So let's say Destination Fantasy. information. Let's save that. We'll talk about that. But just with the White Sox, man, I'm impressed. Don't get me wrong. But Jamar, they've dropped a lot of games, bro. They've dropped a lot of games, include like as example to the Knicks. They've dropped a number of very, very competitive, close games that they really should have won. So not trying to be hard on the White Sox this morning, Rod. I'm not trying to be hard, but I'm just curious, Jamar. Do you think that the White Sox win their division with their bullpen issues, and can they still be a serious playoff threat with these bullpen issues, especially when they go up and play against these AL East, maybe an AL West, not the Central Division, but just other teams in the AL? Do you think they can get past that with these bullpen issues?
All right, win the division. Yeah, they can win the division as is. I strongly believe that. The only real threat in the division that I see is the Indians, but I feel like we can hold them off as is. Now the Yankees, I'm glad that series actually happened now and exploited us now.
Good.
Instead of October,
right?
Per se.
Facts.
So we knew that the bullpen was the weak link of this team. This team is very strong. Don't get me wrong. This is a very strong team overall, but we also said there is room for improvement between the guys that we're missing on offense, but also the bullpen can always be better. And so, I mean, I feel like a move will be made before the deadline, because at this point we are contending and we will be buyers and try to bring in somebody, maybe a person or two, to solidify that, to make that, more stable than what it is. Because there's going to be games where, we're going to have to grind it out. Mm-hmm. The Yankees showed us that.
Right.
To where we're not, smacking like 3 home runs and scoring 7, 8 runs, 9 runs in a game.
And that's playoff baseball to the core.
Yeah. It's going to be games where you're going to have to win like 1-0, 2-1, something like that, where your pitching's going to...
The Cubs have mastered those. White Sox, not so much.
Yeah, the Cubs, like, they play I feel like in my eyes, they play completely different for the most part than we do in that regard. When they won their World Series, they won on small ball and little things and stuff like that, intangibles. So, and that's what they're bringing back, and that's why they probably half game out of first place at the moment. But
okay, the Cubs,
regardless, but regardless, they're back and competing again. So, so yeah, it's like that's going to have to be addressed, and I feel like it will. Because other than that, I mean, we still have a plus 73 point differential. I mean, granted, we're 5-5 in the last 10 games. We was rocking and rolling 2 weeks ago. We come back down to earth because of pitching, but we're still good. I mean, heck, I can't wait for these these 2 guys behind me. Can't wait for these jerseys to be revealed on June 5th. So we're good, but it'll be addressed though.
Yeah, those uniforms are cold. Oh, good.
It's like I gotta pre-order me one or something.
I'm getting one. I'm getting me one for sure. We're gonna be ready for October. Sure. Those are some nice uniforms. All right, yeah. The White Sox bullpen issues. They got to get addressed. I don't know if the Sox got to make a move sometime around the All-Star break, Jamar, to address that. But they got to get some bullpen help. Especially if they want to make a deep run. The Yankees have, the Royals. I just recall at least 4 games off the top of my head that's been lost in the 9th inning. Probably off walk-off singles. This is literally this season. So it is highly alarming, and it has to be addressed prior to October. So the White Sox definitely got to make a move if they want to contend and go to New York and beat the Yankees. in the game 3, or go to the AL West and play the Athletics, or play somebody that's first place in that division. Shout out to the LA Angels, by the way, who has the best player in baseball, and they are fourth place in their division, 22-29, battling with the Rangers for last place. I am so done with Mike Trout. If you just want to win, Mike Trout, I keep telling you, come to Chicago, come to the South Side, right, Jamar?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, like, come on, man. You're not going to win in LA. It's not for you. Like, you need to come to Chicago, bro. We'll treat you well, okay? We'll take you right down Lakeshore Drive, me and Jamar. Be your tour guide and do everything. Take you to Portillo's and get you some deep dish pizza. You can take you to the South Side to meet the Bloods and the Crib, whoever. It doesn't matter, all right? We'll make sure we be your tour guide, all right? So if you want to win and you're the best player in baseball, you can come to Chicago and we'll treat you well, my friend. All right. Doing that little recruiting for Mike Trout to the South Side. Okay. Let's talk about Chicago Cubs, man. Chicago Cubs, now a half game out of the division. 28-22. Big turnaround. Chris Ford, shout out to him. He has liked this team. He has stated that this is his pick for the division. I agree with Chris Ford that this is my pick for the division because they are a great regular season team, and they are great at winning chippy, short run defensive games. Their pitching is always on point with the Cubs, and they're never getting blown out. They are always in every game. Very hard-nosed team, very competitive team, very experienced team. Yep. Just wish the bats were a little more alive, and they would be one of the best teams in baseball too. And so, with the Cubs, what do the Cubs have to continue to do, Jamar, to just stay on their hot streak and possibly win this division? What do the Cubs got to continue to do to keep this momentum going for the rest of the season?
I feel like their players got to play. I feel like Javi Baez got to continue to be Javi Baez. I feel like Rizzo got to be Rizzo. I feel like Chris Bryant got to be Chris Bryant. Like those, I feel like those are your three. Like
core.
Yeah, that's your core. They got to continue to do the things that they're good at. Javi Baez, he is sensational. I feel like on both ends of the, field, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, yeah, defensively, I mean, the man, he's the man.
He is.
His talent is just unbelievable.
And I feel like his energy, his prowess, his swag, it rubs off on everybody else. That's how I feel. And it gets everybody, motivated and juiced up. I mean, they won 8 out of their last 10 games here. I guess, I mean, I don't want to say they're playing ball at the right time because it's not like September or late August. But, this is good for them. As long as they, keep pace here, the Cardinals will always, be there. But as long as they continue to keep pace and, continue to do the things that they do well and, just play for each other, I don't see why not. I mean, they're plus 23 on point differential. 5-game winning streak right now. So, hey, I mean, they're playing good baseball. Just make sure they continue to do so.
Make sure they continue to do so. Me and Jamar, we always notice that in baseball that although the White Sox have a talked about team, it'll be the Cubs who will probably go further in October. Why? Because they can win these short run games and they get really good pitching. Their bullpen don't often let them down. Although at times it has happened this season, but not as nowhere near as alarming as the White Sox. The White Sox potential is World Series potential. The Cubs potential is a scary October team potential that could upset some folks in the first or second round. So both teams got to address issues. But right now, I definitely like the Cubs streak. I like that pitching. I like that defense. I like Javi Baez running all across the field and getting the Pittsburgh Pirates all confused. They just throwing the ball and he's just stealing and stealing and stealing. Very impressive. His energy, like you mentioned, and his hustle, bustle, and all the little intangibles that he does to just have an effect on his team. If Chris Bryant continued to play the way he plays, the Cubs would definitely win. He should be a candidate for NL MVP right now. And that would be amazing if he get a second NL MVP. especially after I thought he was pretty much done, because he's not played well the last few years. I was to the point where I was ready to say like maybe he should be shipped, but he's come back with surgery. And so if he keeps that up, then definitely heavy consideration for MVP for that brother. Although I think somebody from San Diego might get it on LA. And so, yes, with that being said, let's now finalize our sports conversation this morning, Jamar, by talking about the Destination Fantasy Podcast skill positions. And so let's start with the way too early top 10 quarterbacks. And so, world, I will share this screen with you all. All right. So we got Patty Mahomes, that is number one from a fantasy perspective. And so just curious, Jamar, you and Deshaun both came up with these, right?
Yes.
All right. So I just got a question. What the hell is Matt Ryan doing at number 10?
All right. So mind you, this is strictly fantasy.
Right.
Strictly fantasy. So
strictly fantasy, not actual.
Right. So with that being said, the Atlanta Falcons, as we know, they're trash. They are trash. Defense is atrocious. If I had to highlight, what one moment that like captured their trashness was last year against the Cowboys, how they lost that game, that onside kick. But anyway, I predict the Falcons to go 6-11 this year, but mainly they're gonna be behind in games. And with the weapons that Matt Ryan has, I know Julio Jones is still up in the air right now, but the fact that he has thrown for 5,000 yards time and time again, there's going to be a lot of garbage time points with that. And so he's going to have a lot of yards thrown and a lot of like under the radar touchdowns thrown. That's where we was going with that one.
Right. Speaking of garbage points, you took the words out of my mouth. Speaking of garbage yards, you know exactly where I'm heading.
Here we go.
You know where I'm heading. It's Saturday, and I'm in a good mood this morning. My daughter's having a birthday party today, and here you are putting Matthew Stafford on your way too early top 10 quarterback analysis for the 2021-22 season. What the hell is Matthew Stafford doing here? Because he'll be the exact person that will get garbage yards and pretty much, try to get his stats up to make it look like he's doing this and that, but it'll really be Aaron Donald who will be winning the football game. So just curious, why is this Trent Dilfer 2.0? Did you hear what I said? Trent Dilfer 2.0 doing on your way too early top 10 quarterback list, Jamar. What's happening?
First off, you way too disrespectful to Matthew Stafford and his family right now. You are way too disrespectful.
Really? Seriously.
Trent Dilfer 2.0. You taking this to a whole nother level, man. Anyway.
Trent Dilfer 2.0. They could get to the Super Bowl, but it won't be because of Matthew Stafford.
You are so disrespectful. All right.
Just saying.
Anyway, so with Matthew Stafford, him actually having a team full of weapons in the defense, I mean, I don't expect too much garbage time points for this team because they actually be out in front based on the whole team as a collective. But he has a lot of weapons in the actual run game now. There's a lot of structure there. The wide receiver core with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. You got Cam Akers, who's probably gonna catch some passes out the backfield.
A lot of weapons.
And also Tyler Higbee, tight end, is in that play action. Like he should have a pretty good season here. So honestly, I initially had Tom Brady over Stafford here on this list, but Deshaun was like, nah, switch it around. Like, okay. I know Brandon gonna be happy about that one. So yeah.
Okay. It all depends, right? So I'm just saying Matt Ryan can either drop out of this list or Matthew Stafford. But no, you don't take Matthew Stafford out because he got all those weapons. I'm just being real. I know what's happening. I know what's happening. I just don't really care about Matthew Stafford and being a Detroit and being a garbage point guy. But why is Aaron Rodgers not on this list? What the hell is wrong with I know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers right now in Green Bay, but is the reason why he's not on this list, guys, is because he's going through his issue right now?
Correct. Because we don't know the state of what he's going to be, where he's going to be, if he's playing at all. So just going based on current conditions, that's the same reason why Deshaun Watson's not on this list either.
Okay. Gotcha. Because I like Kyler Murray, and don't get me wrong, he's great. I like Matt Ryan and Justin Herbert. Maybe I can see him on that list because he got a few weapons in Los Angeles as well. But I was just thinking like, okay, where's A-Rod? Where's D Watson? And even I think a sleeper that occasionally puts up a good amount of numbers. Although he's very, very streaky, is the guy out of Vegas, Derek Carr. He can put up numbers too. But Matt Ryan can put up some numbers too. So, all right, that is great, guys. But I'm not even done because this alone gets me going. Just looking at the second picture, world, look, Christian McCaffrey. I just got through talking about Mike Trout. Overrated. Team sucks. Somehow, some way though, they get this just exceptional love, and I don't want to think about colorism and things of that nature. But Christian McCaffrey, totally overrated running back. I totally know that Derrick Henry is the best running back in football, alongside with Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook, not Christian McCaffrey. Aaron Jones is even better than him at times. Let alone Nick Chubb balling out in Cleveland, Jamar, alongside Saquon and Ezekiel. But Ezekiel, he kind of forgot to play football after Dak Prescott got injured. But Christian McCaffrey at number one, I totally have a problem with that. I know why from a fantasy perspective, but why is he there, Jamar? He shouldn't be there. He was banged up for the whole damn season last year. And on top of that, all he does is just lose.
Okay, so let me explain. All right, so.
Yeah, because you got some explaining to do.
All right, so here's what makes a great fantasy player. Opportunity plus talent. This man has both. Talent-wise, he can do a lot of things. The key thing here is the opportunity. So Carolina is not going to be good. We know this. But last time we checked and last time we seen, like, Christian McCaffrey was the offense. Christian McCaffrey had double-digit touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey had like a buttload of receptions, a buttload of receiving yards. Christian McCaffrey usage is probably the highest here. So that's why he is number one. Last year, he was number one going into the season until he got hurt. And you can't use, the injury per se to he has a proven track record of being number one. So as of right now, that's what he is, more so because the usage that he's probably going to be utilized in. So that's why.
Okay, I could see Christian McCaffrey definitely being number one realistically, world, because of his situation in Carolina. From a fantasy perspective, and he does do everything. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He's very elusive. He's very fast, very talented. So I like that. Derrick Henry is, he can catch the ball too. Derrick Henry can run you over, stiff arm you, and throw you 5 yards up the field.
Yep.
And he can score a lot of touchdowns. But from a fantasy perspective, right? You got to put the dual running backs there, which in that order, Christian, Dalvin, Alvin. All three of those guys can do multiple things on the field. Saquon, he can as well when healthy. But Derek, Jonathan Taylor, Nick, Ezekiel, even Aaron, they're more downhill runners. And that's what they make their money off of. That's where they bank their careers, is downhill. And so Christian, I can see him being number one, especially because of the situation. But when it comes to his situation in Carolina, geez, Christian, if you're not happy in Carolina, man, remember you can always come to Chicago and play with Justin Fields. Right? I mean, hey, Jamar, do you second that?
I do. I feel like Justin Fields is a great selling point for any player nowadays. We it's not like we could say, Andy Dalton or Mitchell Trubisky come play with us. No, we got Justin Fields now.
Right, exactly. Yes. So, Christian, if you're tired of losing, come to Death Row. Like, come to Chicago. Like, we will treat you well. Mike Trout, the same. Like, both of you guys are in losing situations. You can continue to be loyal to your organizations and lose. But I think they want the heroic status for their organization. So I think they'll just kind of stay around for that reason. But, you know, Christian McCaffrey, you better have a good year because I'm going to be hard on you. If you don't have a great year with all the circumstances happening in Carolina, next year on the Destination Fantasy Podcast, you can go from 1 to 10. You better do well with your situation in Carolina. All right. Way too early top 10 wide receivers. Tyreek Hill being number 1. I can see that. Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae. All right. Issue here, Jamar. You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
You didn't have Aaron Rodgers on there. Why the hell you got Devontae Adams?
All right. So
did you remember the comments that Devontae stated? If Aaron Rodgers is not coming to Green Bay?
Well, he has to rethink his situation after the season.
Yeah.
He may not resign.
No, not after the season. He said rethink his situation now, like if dependent upon his decision.
No, I mean with him, no, it'd be foolish for him not to play because he's entering the last year of his deal. So it'd be foolish for him not to play. So he'll play. He's gonna play regardless.
Do you think Jordan Love can get him to rock the way he, from a top 5 fantasy perspective?
Honestly, that's
it's up in the air though, right? Because it's like a similar situation to Christian McCaffrey. He will be one of the go-to. I mean, Green Bay still got a lot of weapons. Please, they still got a lot of weapons. But I can see Devontae probably getting the ball a lot more because Jordan Love gonna have to go to his go-to guys, and Devontae will be his go-to guy, so he can get a lot of targets.
Yeah, his target share would definitely be high, either just as high or maybe a little bit less, but the volume should be there for Adams. Mm-hmm. It's just more so, yeah, like you're saying, like how efficient can Jordan Love give him the ball if Jordan Love is a starter. So that's just wait to be seen. I guess with him being an elite wide receiver and a suspect quarterback nowadays, the only one that's basically that I've seen, well, there's two wide receivers that's like matchup proof in regards to having bad quarterbacks and still produce, that has proven it over time. DeAndre Hopkins and Allen Robinson. So maybe Devontae Adams could fit in that boat too. We're giving him the benefit of the doubt at this moment.
Yeah, your list is excellent here. Total top 10 to the absolute core. DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Devontae, DeAndre, Stephon, Tyreek. Yeah, Justin Jefferson, looking for him to make a big step. And, Kirk Cousins, he got somebody he can legitimately get the ball to and not miss a beat with Stephon Diggs leaving. Calvin Ridley down in Atlanta because of Matt Ryan, and he had a great season last year. Michael Thomas, oh man, reception guy, never drops that rock, ever. And Allen Robinson, almost the same, very reliable, very, very big, can get create space in small spaces, make something out of nothing. And so,
really quick for Allen Robinson, he throughout his career, like I mentioned, bad quarterbacks from Blake Bortles to Trubisky, Nick Foles, he has yet to play with a real talent. We have one here in Chicago, so his upside, he can, depending on how soon Justin Fields plays, he can be a top 5 fantasy wide receiver this year. He's always finishing the top 10. So we're looking at that upside. He could be a league winner.
Wow.
That's how good he can be this year. That's his ceiling.
All right. And so thank you for that. That is an excellent list. And this is a great list as well. Top 10 tight ends. But I'm just curious, Jamar, why is George Kittle above Darren Waller when we don't really know the situation in San Francisco with their quarterback? So, at least Darren Waller, we know that Derek Carr will be there. We know that. We know his talent. We know George Kittle's talent, but I believe definitely Darren Waller is talented. A lot more talented than George Kittle. Just depends on how you look at their attributes. But Darren Waller is like a wide receiver out there. And at least I know he got a reliable quarterback. We don't know what's going to happen with the kid from North Dakota State with Trey Lance, or if it Jimmy G. So from a fantasy perspective, could I just get your permission, Darren Waller above George Kittle and then in that order?
I mean, you can, but just to give you insight here on that one, I mean, personally to me, they are interchangeable at this point. I mean, Darren Waller the past 2 years has been sensational. I mean, heck, he won me a championship in the league last year. Darren Waller the baller. We call him Waller the baller for a reason. Now,
Right.
going back to George Kittle. So George Kittle, like before last year, has been basically average, the number 2 tight end over the last 3 years. And that's with Jimmy G as your quarterback. As we know, Jimmy G is a average at best, below average to average is best quarterback. So with that being said, if he's putting up numbers like that, it's kind of the sense of the DeAndre Hopkins, Allen Robinson effect. Trey Lance can only make him do, if he is out there, can make him that much better. Because we all know normally rookies, quarterbacks look for tight ends to come out the gate as their security blanket. So that's just that much more upside for George Kittle here. But like I said, both of them are interchangeable. Kelsey's definitely one. And then you're looking at 2A and 2B right there. So it is what it is. You can flip them around. That's fine.
Right. George Kittle will get the ball a lot this year. A lot. Especially being in the NFC West with that division, you got to try to get first downs against Seattle. You got to try to get first downs against Matthew Stafford and the Rams, even with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. It's a gauntlet out west. And so San Francisco going to have to try to get first downs the best way they can. And they lost Marquise Godwin to us. And so that was a big weapon for them. Very talented receiver in Godwin. And so, George Kittle, I can see it from a fantasy perspective. He will get a lot of targets. He will deliver. He's been one of the top tight ends in football for the last 3 years. Only competition really that's been holding him back from getting that crown was and is Travis Kelce. Darren Waller, very, very reliable. And I'm looking forward to this guy. But just the last question before we end.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts, rookie, haven't played a down yet. How did he make the top 6? Top 5. No, top 5. 2, 3, 4. No, he did top 6. That is impressive. This kid, now don't get me wrong, I do have him being a baller this year. He is raw. He raw. But is he top 6 already?
I mean, honestly, I'm on record as saying he's top 5 already. I'm on record saying that. Well, I mean, it goes back to what I was saying about Matt Ryan and how he cracked our top 10. And so, they're going to be playing from behind. So it's going to be a lot of garbage points, a lot of garbage yardage, a lot of garbage catches. And so if Julio Jones get traded like we all think he will, it's just a matter of when and where, that's just more targets for the man. So that's basically in your passing game, you got Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is all world. Kyle Pitts in Florida last year, like the great Alabama Crimson Tide, Roll Tide couldn't even stop this man.
They couldn't stop him at all.
And we know that Bama is the farm system for the NFL.
Yes.
So Kyle Pitts and that high power, like pass heavy offense with a quarterback that's still above average, that can still deliver the ball to his weapons to be fantasy relevant. Yeah, he definitely has top 5 upside to me. He's 6 right now, but he's gonna be a force for years to come. You're gonna see him messing around with the top guys, the Kelce's, the Kittles, and the Wallers pretty soon, in my eyes.
All right. All right, world. Strong analysis from our brother, Mr. Jamar Goodman, alongside with our brother, Mr. Sean Reed Sr., in the Destination Fantasy Podcast, which can be found on Sunday mornings, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, via the Destination Fantasy Podcast page, Mr. Jamar Goodman's page. It can be on my page. It could be on Deshaun Reed Sr.'s page, and various streaming platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Very, very strong, lovely podcast that has actually kept going in the off season. And so Destination Fantasy Podcast does not just occur during the 16 to 17 weeks or the 21 weeks, but it actually occurs during the full entire year, 365 days a year. You can find Destination Fantasy Podcast, and you can find football analysis from a fantasy perspective from two gurus and experts. All right. Thanks for that, Jamar. No problem, man. And so as we head into the weekend, just curious on any final thoughts or shout outs as we head into this weekend.
Man, this is like the first holiday weekend that we've had in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Weather's good, basketball's on. I mean, just go out and enjoy yourself and continue to be responsible out here. And that's what I'm about to do. So definitely, everybody be blessed on that front.
Yes, sir. I want to send out shout outs to the Boston Celtics for pulling out a very surprising game. I'm very impressed from a sports perspective. Of course, he had the 50-60 Jason Tatum in order to win that series, but I'm just happy to see him, pull off one of those in the Garden last night. Boston, it's not it's no longer the Boston Garden, right? But I've always known it to be that. And so very good stuff. Very good game last night. Additionally, yes, Jamar's right. Great weather. Memorial Day weekend. Everybody be safe. Put the guns down. Be safe in regards to the virus is still out here. If you can, get vaccinated, people. Get vaccinated. And do what you can to be safe in this environment. Enjoy the weather. Be safe. We thank you all for tuning in with us. Remember to keep God first in all that you do, and you keep God first, and God will direct you in the path that you shall go. So we thank you all for tuning in with us. You guys have a great and blessed weekend. Enjoy the NBA playoffs for the NBA. Enjoy the NHL playoffs, which is very, very entertaining. Don't sleep on hockey. Enjoy some baseball, whatever you got to do. Throw you some meat on the grill, or if you're vegetarian, throw you some vegetarian stuff on the grill. But get out, enjoy, relax, and have a great time. We thank you all for tuning in with us. Have a blessed weekend. Peace.
Deuces. Southside.